As the Ukrainian conflict carries on, there aren't just battles being fought on the ground in that theater. It's quickly become a regional conflict, ranging now into deep economic warfare. Earlier this year, NATO allies made the move to sanction the Russian economy once the war began. To the north, in the Baltic Sea, there are underwater pipelines that run from Russia to Germany that transport natural gas. These pipelines are called the NORDSTREAM pipelines. This week, giant plumes of fuel rose to the surface of the Baltic Sea off the coast of Denmark, showing a major leak. Upon further investigation, it was revealed that the leak was caused by sabotage from an unknown nation-state.
This is a dangerous weapon, not only for Ukraine.
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
The Nord Stream pipelines are a pair of natural gas pipelines that run from Russia through the Baltic Sea to Germany, circumventing the pipeline that runs through Ukraine to Germany. Nord Stream 1 has been operational since 2011. But Nord Stream 2, despite its completion, hasn't been operational yet. Annually, Ukraine received $2 billion for transiting natural gas through their country. With the current conflict, Russia stopped transit through its land-based pipelines and doubled the transit through the Nord Stream. With international prices skyrocketing and winter quickly on its way, countries in Europe are starting to become desperate to help lower energy costs for their production. Historically, Europe receives most of its energy from Russia through natural gas, but due to the current sanctions, those energy sources have all but dried up. The US recognizes this and has deemed it a foreign policy issue on its NATO ally. In February, before the war, President Biden was asked about the pipeline.
You guys, first question.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Chancellor Scholz. Mr. President, I had wanted to ask you about this Nord Stream project that you've long opposed. You didn't mention it just now by name, nor did Chancellor Scholz. Did you receive assurances from Chancellor Scholz today that Germany will in fact pull the plug on this project if Russia invades Ukraine?
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
But this wouldn't be the first time the Biden administration had dealings with pipeline shutdowns.
By the way, I would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I would
that's
transition.
A big statement.
It is a big statement
That's a
because
big statement.
I would stop.
Why would you do that?
Because the oil industry pollutes significantly.
I see.
Here's the deal. But
That's
you
a
can't
big
do that.
statement.
Well, if you let me finish the statement, because it has to be replaced by renewable energy over time. And I'd stop giving.
And upon becoming president, Biden shut down the Keystone Pipeline in accordance with his administration's ambition to transition to renewables. Zelensky even talked about it.
I believe that it's wrong not to see that this is a dangerous weapon, not only for Ukraine, but for the whole of Europe.
How will you do that? Exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
As the US was watching Florida brace for a historic hurricane on the morning of 26 September, 2 seismic activities were reported hours apart exactly where the Nord Stream pipelines lay. Later that morning, the Danish Coast Guard captured these images, confirming what many suspected: sabotage. Underwater explosions have damaged the pipeline beyond repair, according to reports. Many things could have caused this, but 3 stick out the most. The USS Kearsarge was operating in that area the day before, publishing photos of UDT SEALs training the day in the Baltic. Many submarines operate in that area constantly, but it was members of 4chan Sky King General Thread scanning the flight radars that caught the most probable saboteur. Poseidon. The US Navy's P-8 Poseidon is an upgraded version of the original P-3 Orion subhunter, and you've probably flown on its platform before as it uses Boeing's 737 civilian airliner. NATO allies have purchased these as well. It has many more capabilities and can carry a payload easily capable to cause the damage seen on the pipeline. As mentioned earlier, this happened in the midst of a hurricane slamming much of the southeast coast. The mainstream media mainly shelved this story, and it was only reported internationally. Of course, once the US and NATO allies made an official response, they blamed Russia.
About the pipeline, and let me say this. It was a deliberate act of sabotage, and now the Russians are pumping out disinformation and lies. We're going to work with our allies to get to...
There signaled very clearly that he knows he is losing. He's on his back heels, and he's making every attempt to intimidate those who would stand up to him.
However, tried and economically worn-out European citizens think otherwise. German polls now suggest the public think that it was indeed the United States that carried out this sabotage. They're thinking the obvious question: why would Russia destroy its own pipeline, further damaging their economy? And of course, this action, whether directly or indirectly carried out by the US or through NATO allies, didn't go unanswered. The Russian military was later seen through satellite images placing strategic nuclear bombers within range of Ukraine's borders and many other NATO allies.